one thing that no one is talking about is the fact that you passed this $40 billion Ukraine aid bill. We've already spent over $100 billion. How long is it going to take before the next bill is on the table? That's going to be for just as much, if not more. And no one is asking questions.
Well,
to me,
I think
that's a big problem.
I think the broader issue, because I'm not against like humanitarian aid to Ukraine, but that's very different than weapons. Give them as much as, we print money, so give them as much as they need. But to me, the broader issue, and this is a great failure of Bernie, the squad, progressives, if they had a backbone. If they had a backbone, they'd be in front of the Capitol right now, probably for just encampment with the how you're going to pay for it, right? Because that's what they said during the Democratic primaries. How are you going to pay for healthcare? How are you going to pay? It's known that it's bullshit, but they never message on it. They should be out there right now. Of course, Bernie's in Texas, whatever. But they should be out there right now. Wait a minute. No. They're not getting away with this. We're told, how are we going to pay for Medicare for all? How are we going to pay for this? What they're talking about is $100 million a day in Ukraine. Nobody is asking how you're going to pay for it. So why are we so responsible when it comes to how we're going to pay for healthcare for the American people? But with this, it's just a few decibels, this and that. There's no messaging on that. There's no protest on that, because I'll tell you what, it's a damn good message. Put up a few signs. Put up the Javelin missiles that we don't worry about how we're going to pay for it on one billboard, and people out of insulin on another. So we got to worry how we're going to pay for this. This one, have at it. But I don't see that messaging, and that's a big problem.
No, and that's where the messaging needs to come from. And it can't just come from somebody like Rand Paul or Mike Lee. There has to be people on the non-corporate progressive side. You can't allow the libertarian right to suck the air out of the room regarding an anti-war message. That is so unbelievably bad. And you can't be afraid to be hated, because standing up for what is right takes courage, and more people will agree. Yeah, humanitarian aid is one thing. The war machine is another. There are people in this country who are so ready, willing, and able to let tens of thousands of Ukrainians be led to slaughter. Like they're okay with it. They just don't care. And then I would be the first one to say, okay, so let's say this keeps going. Let's say this just continues for the next, we'll say 6 months. Are you going to sign up to, do combat? Are you going to sign up to go to Ukraine and defend their people against the Russians? I got a feeling you're not going to get one hand that's going to get raised and say, yeah, I'll go over there.
Right.
So it's always easy to Monday morning quarterback whenever you don't have to put yourself in harm's way. That, to me, probably more than anything else, is where the big divide comes in, and where people really just have to have an anti-war message.
Well, also,
isn't
Peter,
about not defending.
I'll also say, where's the message on COVID? Because I got news for you. A lot of people don't want to hear it. The next war we're going to be fighting is with long COVID. There's a massive.
It's already here. It's already here.
There is a massive COVID wave going on right now. The maps that the CDC is putting out is complete bullshit. We're probably right now at 150,000 to 200,000 cases a day. The devil's advocate would be, Jordan, what does that matter if people aren't dying, this and that? Well, look into how many people are getting long COVID. Not old people, like 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
The debilitating illness that we don't have universal health care to deal with. So that's another thing. We don't ask how we're going to pay for the Javelin missiles, the tanks, all that. But we're told, in fairness to Biden, he actually has been pushing for additional COVID funding, but the Republican Party is stopping it. But why isn't Biden using the bully pulpit? Why didn't Biden use the bully pulpit against Joe Manchin? Why didn't Biden use the bully pulpit against his own party for the one promise he made, which is a $15 minimum wage? Because he doesn't actually care that much about these policies. And he doesn't mind. Honestly, I think the Democrats are now equally as reckless as Trump was when it comes to COVID. Sure, they're not putting out there making masks a culture war, but they're advising masks. Literally the same exact conditions as 6 months ago, where they were saying their rules were wear a mask inside. They're advising it now. I know people don't want these things, but it's about protecting us against long-term disability, because there's going to be a whole generation of people fucked from these variants that are going to keep on spreading. And it's a shame also that Bernie and the squad weren't out there a year ago shaming Biden in front of the White House for not taking over the patent for these vaccines and distributing it all around the world.
And
Biden,
Biden
could have seized it.
And if that's not enough, it was amazing how easy it was for them to attack Trump when he wasn't doing enough. And we're still in a situation where you could have expanded Medicare to everyone via medical emergency, and you could have been producing the stimulus checks as needed. So that way we could have had this thing more under control. Now, not only has that not happened, but people are now getting charged to get vaccinated. So as far as I can tell, if you can't see the scam that's being run on you, that's been run on you for the longest time, that's what this is all about. We have a for-profit healthcare system that is made worse, not by Republicans, but by Democrats, because they are trying to convince you that they're really fighting really hard to get us universal healthcare. It's just those big bad GOPers that are standing in the way. No, corporate special interest money has engulfed both parties, specifically from big pharma and private insurance. And to those like Kirk Trader, who just lost significant loss in Oregon, he was completely engulfed in big pharma money, as is a lot of these other candidates. That, to me, is everything. The more we focus on not just what we do on the outside, but recognize that we have to get non-corporate representation on Capitol Hill, because that is the only way there's going to be this sort of titanic shift. And yes, many people are going to suffer as a result of this. That is the sad reality. We can piss and moan and say, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? Because there are mega corporations that have board meetings on the regular that decide how many deaths are acceptable in a given circumstance.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.